So I'm going to record a module here on what I believe momentum in network marketing is all about. Now, momentum is when, your organization starts to grow with or without you. It's when you start getting that exponential growth kind of kicking in. It's when, the juice is there. People are excited. They're doing a lot of activity. You got a lot of new members joining your team. You're breaking new leaders. And, momentum is fun. It's exciting. It's the juice of network marketing. And this module is about what I believe is the number one thing that creates momentum in network marketing. Now, obviously, you have to go through the work. You got to get your organization skilled on inviting and presenting and training and enrolling and all of those things. So, but if there's one overall thing, an overarching concept that you've got to keep at the top of your mind, if you want to be a powerful leader in network marketing, and if you want to have massive results, this is why I believe my organization has grown to over 500,000 people in the last 5.5 years. It's because of belief. Momentum is all about belief and instilling belief in your organization. So it's belief in network marketing, it's belief in your company, it's belief in your products, and most important, it's belief in yourself, and it's belief in the people in your organization. It's them having belief in themselves. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that contribute to creating a rock solid belief in your organization and network marketing in your company and yourself. Now, we go back to week number 1. Now, the reason why week number 1 is so important because it's all about how to create personal belief. So I'm not going to recap that, but if there's one part of Millionaire School that you want to listen to over and over and over, it's everything that I talked about in week number 1. Because that's all about personal belief. But you've also got to create belief in network marketing, belief in, other people in your company and, the excitement levels and all that. And, here's the thing is sometimes we end up getting into a plateau. And you get into a plateau, it's like you've had some success, but then you flatline. And when we're no longer able to change a situation, we have to change ourselves. And how we change ourselves is all about personal belief. And so I just want you to have that reminder. Throughout your career in network marketing, please don't forget this quote. When we're no longer able to change the situation, we must change ourselves. So it's about personal belief. You've got to change your own personal belief as it relates to what you believe you deserve to have, how you show up. And how you show up in life is largely based on your belief in yourself. It's your identity. And so, that's where you go back to week number 1. And, the great thing about Millionaire School is you can just go through this over and over and over. Now, what are some of the keys to transferring belief to your organization? Now, one of the things that's true is this. You've got to consistently paint a vision for the future. So one of the things that I'm always talking about is I'm painting a vision for where my company is going, for what our organization is going to do, for the number of leaders that we're going to be producing on a regular basis. I'm saying things like, they don't build stadiums large enough to hold us. So yes, we're doing an event with over 10,000 people right now. We haven't done anything yet. There are not stadiums big enough to hold us. We're going to have to do events like this, 20, 30,000 people. We're going to have to do them in multiple different stadiums. That's how this is going to go. We're going to put millions upon millions of people into this company. So I'm painting a vision for the future. I'm painting a vision for our company. I'm painting a vision for our leadership. I'm painting a vision even for, where our product is headed and what our company is doing. Now, I don't believe in futuring. It's like 6 months from now, we're going to have this and it's going to be the greatest recruiting tool ever. Be careful with that. This is a leadership lesson I want you to hear me on. When you future too much, what happens is it's like, oh, we got this thing coming out in 2 months. Then people say, well, I'll just wait for 2 months and then I'll start working. So it's painting the vision of where we're headed, of how big things are going to be, how magnificent life can be. I'm painting the vision about dreams and goals, about vacationing around the world, about traveling and things like that. It's painting that vision. If you think about Martin Luther King was one of the most obviously amazing leaders in the world. His I Have a Dream speech, it was painting a vision for what the future of America could be. That's the theme. That's what I want you to think about. Now, belief and learning come through repetition. And so there's things that we say over and over and over. Now, years ago, just a handful of years ago, I was talking about how, we're putting in 1,000 people a week. That's nothing. We're going to be putting in 10,000 people a week, and I'm just always saying, no matter what we're doing great. We're doing awesome. We haven't even scratched the surface. It's the tip of the iceberg. And I firmly believe that because I know as I paint the vision, I build belief and I speak that future into existence. So you speak the future into existence, and you need to have a handful of things that you say over and over and over. We're doing great right now, but here's what's going to happen. We're going to be putting in 100 to 200,000 people a month are going to be joining this company. And you've got to decide right now, how much of that do you want to have in your team? So another thing about transferring belief, whether you're painting a vision for the future, whether you're presenting your company, whatever it is that you're doing, I want to talk about what makes up communication and what makes up a great communicator. Now, if you look at the different aspects of communication, you've got your physiology, what you're doing with your body, you have your tonality, and then you have the words that you actually say. And so what most people seem to really want to focus on are the words. What is the one-liner in my presentation? What's the closing script? What's the invitation script? And, the words are somewhat important, but psychologists and experts have basically broken down, and these numbers don't vary much, but overall, the experts say that 55% of your communication comes from your physiology. 30% comes from your tonality, and then 15% come from the words that you say. So what you want to realize is that the words that you say have very little meaning compared to how you deliver those words. 85% of why someone is impacted by you, 85% of why someone enrolls in your organization, 85% of why someone decides to follow you has nothing to do with the words that you say. It has everything to do with how you say those words. And so what you want to be mindful of is bringing out that excitement. Great communicators have the ability to transfer emotion to other people. So people hear your words and they see how you deliver them and your tonality, and they feel it. It hits their heart. They feel it in their core. I've had people so many times where, I'll give a talk on stage and it's not an emotional talk, but I deliver it with so much passion, people start crying. I don't know why they're crying. They come up to me and they're just bawling. And I'm like, I didn't say anything that would make you cry. The words would not make someone cry, but the way that it was delivered, the way it impacted them, hit so hard, it made tears come out. And so that's what you got to be mindful of. See, I could give the worst recruiting script in the world to someone who had the physiology and the tonality, who delivered it really well, a terrible recruiting script, and they would enroll people all day long. I could give the best recruiting script in the world, and I could give it to someone who delivered it with a very boring tone and boring physiology, and they wouldn't enroll anyone. They wouldn't enroll anyone. So it's not the words, it's how you deliver the words. And so how you deliver things is, again, that's how people are impacted. So here's the thing. Stop holding back your excitement. Stop holding back your enthusiasm. Let it out. We're so conditioned to be guarded with our emotions. We're so conditioned to be guarded with our hopes and our dreams and our goals for the future because, people have, we've said things in the past like we want to go become a millionaire. We want to go be an astronaut. We want to be a race car driver. We want to be a professional athlete. And then what ends up happening is people say, well, why don't we do something that's a little more realistic? Or they say that's unrealistic. And so we end up denouncing our dreams. We denounce our goals, and we end up pulling back and, not going after what we really want. And so you got to open up. And when you open up, you give other people permission to open up. And as a leader, it's our responsibility to create an environment where others can grow. See, this is what I believe. I believe it's my responsibility as a leader. It's your responsibility to create a positive growth environment for other people. And this has been my core. If you build people through personal development, they will build the business. If it is all about money, 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 recruit, then people are going to leave. I will commit to you right now, I've seen it so many times, dozens and dozens of times, where a new company launches and it's all about make $10,000 quickly, money, 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 and it's always short-lived. It's short-lived because they have no focus on building people. So you've got to build people through personal development, and that builds their belief. It builds their confidence. It builds their self-esteem, because success is, again, always short-lived unless you focus on the personal development aspect. Now, another thing that you do to transfer belief, and this is what I have done over and over and over again. When I'm in build mode, I'm ready to create momentum. I'm going to start a new group and I'm going to go crush it. What I'm doing is I'm making about 10 to 20 calls every single day to people in my organization. I'm taking my belief that is rock solid, that's, just as strong as it can be, and I'm calling people and I'm transferring that belief to other people. Now, I'm not saying you do this at the expense of recruiting. So it's not like you just have a group of 10 people and you call them over and over and over and you're trying to motivate the unmotivated. Listen, it is way easier to give birth than resurrect the dead. So what I'm doing is I'm calling the people who are doing something, the people who have shown some commitment, that are showing up, and I'm going to call them. I used to have a call log, actually, of all the people that I personally enrolled and all the people in my group who were doing anything. And what I would do is I'd just take 30 minutes or so, if you're on the phone or if you're driving, instead of listening to the radio, start making some calls, some belief building calls, and you be very quick. It might be 2 minutes on and off the phone with each person, and it's just calling them and you showing your excitement. Hey, did you hear about this going on? Sharing success stories. You got to have a sense of urgency when you call. See, as a leader, if you're calling people in your organization and you're just calling and building relationships, yes, we build relationships, but if you're just continually calling people and just shooting the shit and talking with them, then you got no sense of urgency. They don't see you working. They don't see you producing, and so they don't go produce. So you're calling them and you're telling them success stories. You're telling them about new members that are on the team. You're talking about events. You're talking about conference calls coming up. You're giving them a compliment. You're saying, hey, let me know. I got, some time this week. If you want to have me help you out with a 2-on-1 or a conference call or a 3-way phone call, I'm here for you. I got to run. I got to make several more calls. I'm headed to a meeting. It's just transferring belief. It's touching base with some people and bringing them around the campfire. See, what my mentor told me was, if you bring people around the campfire, that's the events, the meetings, the trainings, and all that. Around the campfire, it's warm, it's hot, it feels good. They're going to be motivated. And if people get away from the campfire, they lose their excitement, they lose their motivation. And so what you do is you bring people around the campfire. Now, what you're always looking for is people who are going to stay around the campfire with or without you. But in many cases, you're going to have people who, if you bring them around the campfire, they'll stay around long enough to lead you to someone who will stay around the campfire all on their own. I can think of a guy that I enrolled in my business. His name was Jimmy. And Jimmy, I'd call him 2-3 times a week, just let him know about an event going on. Got a training. Hey, I'm here for you. Let's set up a meeting. Let's set up 3-way calls. Call me, man. Things are rocking. Okay. And I did this for a couple months, 2-3 months. Jimmy didn't enroll anyone. Well, finally, because I kept him around the campfire, he ended up leading me to a guy named Glenn. Glenn did a presentation for Glenn. Glenn enrolled. Glenn told me he was going to rock this thing. I mean, he was going to, I'm going to be rich because I found him. Well, he never enrolled anyone, but he did lead me to one person that did enroll, that I actually enrolled for him. And it was Terry. Now, Terry led me to one person and only one person, and that was a guy named Mark. Now, Terry never did anything else, but I went and I presented to Mark and we enrolled Mark. Mark built a team of a few thousand people. See, a dud led to a dud, led to a dud, led to a stud. So you just never know. If I hadn't kept Jimmy around the campfire, he never would have led me to the person who led me to the person who led me to the person who built a big business. So transferring belief to your organization. Now, again, how do you transfer belief? It's 15% of the words that you say, 30% is your tonality, and 55% is the physiology. Okay? Now, the final way that we transfer belief, I believe, is the most powerful way that we transfer belief, is getting people to events, to training events, live events. Now, if your company doesn't do live events, I would encourage you, start your own live events. Step up as a leader and start doing your own training events. Get people together in person. I've had lots of leaders that I've recruited over the years, and they wanted to do everything just by webinar. Just over the phone and not do anything in person. And one of two things happened. Either they totally failed or they changed their strategy, started doing events, and they ended up winning big. And so events are everything. When you get people to a live event, here's the rule. People make big decisions at big events. And so if your company is doing major events, you've got to get good at promoting the event. Now, I'm going to record another module that is specific. I'm going to give you my event blueprint strategy on the things that I say in order to be masterful at promoting events. And so stay tuned for a future module on that. And again, to recap this, momentum is created through belief. Create a rock solid belief in yourself, a rock solid belief in network marketing, a rock solid belief in your company, a rock solid belief in your products, and you, my friend, can build it big.